for the course. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make you host. So don't
okay.
have anything.
I would love that.
You can do anything that you need to do. You have all, you know what I mean? No restrictions.
Fantastic.
Folks, did y'all receive your assignments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, as I said, the assignments is not, there's no right or wrong. It's the key of the assignment is to do research. I don't know if, Jonathan, if I'll send you the assignment so you can take a look at it.
Yes, will you kindly? I'd be more than happy.
Let me forward that to you. I said there's no right or wrong answer. The assignment is designed for you to, it's a learning, actually, it's a learning process. Because they want you to do a lot of research. So I can go ahead and, let me get to my next computer and I'll go ahead and forward that to you.
Fantastic. Miguel, I am having problems sharing my screen. I am having problems getting to where I want to go with my screen share.
I see you about it.
Right, so what I may want you to do is take this back over and put us, let me see, maybe.
Yeah, click share screen and then click the document that you want to share. Open up your document first. You give me a minute, please.
Uh-huh.
All right. On the class right now. Give me a second. You still having trouble with on getting to the screen? To the bottom of the Zoom, you should see, if you go to the bottom, you should see a green share screen. Click that on.
Yeah, no, I got that. I'm trying to
find the document.
Log into my my Gmail here. Yeah, so.
Just resend everyone back the assignment.
Okay, you sent me the assignment just now, right?
Yeah. I guess if you could open it up and then save it on your desktop, then you could, if you want to take a look at it.
Just give me 1 second. You know,
Yeah, no problem.
I a little,
No problem, my good man.
challenged. Okay. Can everybody see my screen or?
Not yet.
All right. All right, Miguel, I don't want to waste time. Take this over. I need for you to get me into the registry. Well, I know the names of the people, so we're gonna go through a little intro. I'm gonna hold over for the next 10 minutes. Why don't you put me into, take the screen over and put me into module 1. You know the email you sent me?
No, it's not a problem.
Hello? Hello? Hey. Hi, Miguel. Tell us a little bit about the assignments. These assignments related to Module 4?
No, I mean, if you read the assignment wants you, the assignment basically wants you to use your experience, or if you can't, okay, it's quite critically analyze the issues arising in development of your relationship with customers. Right, this is Justin. Please indicate where you feel your personal emphasis should lay, and how would you deal with this situation? Some guidance. If you want me to put this on the screen first, we go over that on the screen first.
Yeah. Why don't you meet it? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
For the participants in the group, I apologize. I will have this sorted out by next class where I'll be able to take over.
Okay, that's the assignment. Here's the assignment. Can everybody see the assignment? Let me make it a little bigger.
Yes, I can see it.
This is an interesting question. This is a very interesting question. I'll be interested to know how you guys answer this.
This is very loaded and very relevant. Too relevant, I think.
Actually, it's a very relevant thing. I mean, you know, Claudia, I know you are with CIFP, am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and you know, there's been such a great thrust in the whole financial industry with the whole new catchphrase of fintech, where a lot of institutions are basically employing more and more technology to assist them in your repetitive functions wherever possible throughout the operations. And I embrace that. I embrace that. I think that's only right. But I really think, I'm really hoping a lot of financial institutions don't use that to go down the rabbit hole. Well, if we could cut staff, well, employing fintechs allows us to reduce staff and increase profitability. As you know, profitability can be increased by increasing revenues or decreasing expenses. However, I think that is such, decreasing the staff complement is such a short-term vision. And to me, I would attack this by saying, wherever you could find save, say, in staffing, those staff should be either redeployed or retrained with an emphasis on greater customer service. I think in the long run, the institution that does that is going to have long-term sustainable profits, as opposed to the institution that takes the employment or increased employment of fintech to downsize their staff. I think that, like, I say unabashedly that probably the bank, and because I'm a customer of that bank, the bank that leaves the most desired for customer service is Royal Bank.
I would agree. I would agree.
You know, and I think they're pushing customers so much towards, oh, use the ABM or do this. And if you call into the bank, you know, as simple as something is, you know, that telephone, your telephone experience trying to get a talking voice on the phone. Well, they're employing fintech without an answering service, and you got to go through so many levels of, if you want this company, do this. If you want this company, do this. And then when you finally hit an extension, the thing goes to, oh, well, Claudia Thompson is not available at this moment. Leave a message in her call. But this, you know, been through five minutes of just trying to find Claudia Thompson's extension. And it really is, I think all financial institutions, all customer service institutions, got to be very careful of that you so embrace fintech that you sort of like lose the customer relationship type thing. But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Good evening. Hi, how are you?
Hi, this is Miss Woods.
Yes, it is. Just listening to you guys, and it's so funny that you mentioned Royal Bank of all banks.
You work for Royal
The
Bank?
reason why I say that, no, I don't work for Royal Bank. I work for Gone Bank and Trust. The reason why I say that is because I worked from Royal Bank many years ago when I first got into the financial service sector. I worked for Royal Bank from 2002 to 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I have customers now that see me on the road and they're like, oh, which branch are you to? I was at Palmdale branch for the full time. And they said, which branch are you to now? And I'm like, I left Royal Bank since 2006. And we get the compliment of you guys were the last best set of tellers that Royal Bank ever had. I hear that a lot. People think that I'm at a different branch or in the back office somewhere, but I don't know. I left Royal Bank many years ago. But that's interesting that it's Royal Bank that you mentioned.
And it's only because of my personal experience. I'm not picking on them, I'm sure.
No. I've had the same experience. I mean, my situation in the outlook is a little bit different, but I get it. I fully get it because I'm like, okay, they really don't have to be moving this slow. Why isn't there somebody to answer the phones? Sometimes, you know. I fully understand. As I said, coming from a different point of view of working in the back of the
back office operation?
Yeah, no, not back office operation, working as a teller. Coming from that side of the experience, there are customers who don't understand, okay, we need to take lunch, we need to eat. I get it that sometimes there are only 2 persons on the lineup in the bank, but okay, I'm like, I was waiting for lunch for a few hours now. I really have to go. It's not my fault that somebody called in or anything like that. So it's an interesting topic dealing with that particular bank from my point of view, because I've experienced it being on the line waiting for a very long time, or on the phone waiting for a very long time and still getting the answer machine or the voicemail that said this person is not available when you finally get to the desk, the phone. But I also understand it in retrospect from being the teller.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I appreciate what you're saying, ma'am. And you got to be humane to the employees of the bank, but I think that's more of a management or weakness in management.
I believe so too. I believe so too. There are some things that they can be done and they just don't do it.
You know, like, okay, take for instance with this last round of COVID, which is a very serious thing. And obviously for the protection of the customer as well as the employees in the bank, right? There are many instances where I pass, and today, even now, Scotiabank, I live out west, I'm going to work, and you know, they have the chairs outside for the people to sit in.
Oh,
and
please.
They sit in the blasted hot sun.
I have tried to go because I work on that side, and I've needed to go inside that bank just to get my new card that they're saying they're updating, and that was ridiculous. I had to literally take a whole day off just to go to a Scotiabank, which was not that one, by the way, because I'm not going to be in that hot sun. No, that was ridiculous. I saw that too. That's ridiculous.
And you know, some of these people are senior citizens. At least they give them chairs before. I guess that's their form of upgrading customer service.
But the chairs don't make a difference to me because of the fact that, first of all, if it's hot, you're in the hot sun, you can fall there from heat deprivation or whatever, have a heat stroke. And then you're talking about the rain can come down. So you don't even have a tent for me to at least sit or stand under something.
Or even go, you know, the same way that they are having this COVID-19 shot, right? In the evening,
Right.
go into an appointment type system where you make an appointment to go into the bank. I mean, some of these are elderly folks with health challenges.
Exactly.
You know, at least have for the elderly folks go online and make an appointment so we don't have you standing out there in the line or sitting out there in the hot sun. Or when they get there, I have yet to see any bank got somebody out there, you know, at least handing out some water or something like that. It's just, it has gotten to the point where, you know, it's like the bank is telling you, I wish y'all would go away, you know, go open up an account with another bank. That's how I felt with Royal.
Honestly, for me, most of the banks, none is better than the other.
And that's why I say, I didn't mean to pick on Royal. I'm sure everybody has their story about their bank.
Because I've had experience with quite a few of them. Bank of the Bahamas, First Caribbean, yeah, all of them have somewhat of a same situation going on.
But anyway, I mean, I am sure if we would have talked with them, like you say, with the teller, you're right on the teller side, everybody probably has their story. But I tell you the God's honest truth, the tellers, even the employees inside the bank, the way they treat you is like they mad at their employer and taking it out on the customer. So you get the feeling that there's something going on within the bank that's really cheesing off the internal customer, which is the employees. But anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I can attest to that as well. So unfortunately, sometimes the tellers do take out their frustrations on the external customer from dealing with their bosses, the managers and what's not. It's sad, but unfortunately, yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, they're human too. I mean, they have their breaking point too. They bring their issues from home to work too. Yeah, I mean, but I just think that whole thing with the buying rates to be rethought out from a customer service point of view. Because it really sucks.
Customer service in the Bahamas on the whole for me is the pits, but yeah.
All right, so that is not our purview today. I don't know how many people we now have. Miguel, can you tell me? I see.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we supposed to have at least 4 more persons. Johnson and Kenny Yoko and Michael. I waiting on those folks.
But at least let's get started with. I mean, there are 2 people in right now. Am I correct?
3.
Ms. Woods, why don't we kick off with you telling me? Well, I'll start the ball rolling to give you a little bit about myself. My name is Ken Donathan. I have in excess of 40 years of financial experience. I have done portfolio. I have worked with portfolio. I've been a portfolio manager. I have been a treasurer of the bank at Citibank. I then went to be the chief operations officer at R&D. So I worked in the capacity as a chief operations officer of a major, I guess, business where in that, Ms. Woods, the focus was customer service there, also in running the cinemas. I also managed the real estate holdings. And I'm going to take employment first. I then left Kalina July of last year. They gave me what I call early retirement because at that time I only had 2 more years to go to retirement. And with the COVID thing going on, I guess they were going through their version of right sizing. So they made me an offer which I readily accepted and went about my business with a view of actually starting my own business of financial coaching. And that is really where my passion is. I am of the belief that a lot of the financial institutions nowadays, and I don't mean to pick on CFAL or Royal Fidelity, a lot of them concentrate on what we call wealth clients, those with 25,000 and above of investment funds, and that is a market. But I think there is a great void that in the Bahamas where there is a need for financial coaching for what we call the lower strata of our economy. I don't think we will ever emerge from third world status until we bring up the financial literacy of that strata. And they are so greatly overlooked, and they are the ones that need it the most. Along that line, so I've established my company, and I was sitting down home minding my own business. And there was a group that came along and invited me on a journey that sort of like paralleled these thoughts. The name of the group is Arawak X. They are the latest stock exchange in the Bahamas. And their license was granted in January of this year. They have a license just like BISX. The thrust of their business, though, differs from BISX in the extent that the marketplace is primarily geared at equity crowdfunding. What do I mean by equity crowdfunding? Well, employing this fintech or employing financial technology, there has been a great use of the internet, even more so now, where you find a lot of parties, instead of utilizing brokers as an intermediary in terms of bringing buyers and sellers together, the internet has almost become the highway where people find themselves. And a part of that is there is this concept called crowdfunding. And a lot of people think it's a new concept, but it dates back so far in history. It's just that it's gaining popularity now that they've had the introduction of trading over the internet, or electronic trading, so to speak. And what they try to do, our mandate is to bring companies that are what we call primarily start-up companies. That is companies that may have gone from the incubation period. Now, when I use the word incubation period, I mean they're out of the mom and pop strata. They have now had a couple of years of operating. May have had success, but now they're ready to try and grow seriously. That is how we deem a startup. Likewise, on the opposite end, there are a lot of persons out there who are looking to invest money in startups. The whole concept of startup is you may stumble across the next Apple or the next Facebook. All of those companies started out as almost penny stocks. And today, well, their story, I'm sure everybody knows their story. The good thing about crowdfunding is that the founder or the person who's looking for funding, they'll have to give up a portion of their company in terms of ownership, equity ownership. Because even though there's the traditional lending in crowdfunding too, most of crowdfunding is equity for crowdfunding. And they give up a portion of their ownership of the company in exchange for getting an influx of capital that will allow them to grow. For the investor, the beauty of this thing is that you can take a small amount of money and invest in several companies as opposed to just investing in one. Take, for instance, like, you know, they was having the port issue. The port floated some bonds or some equity. And, you know, you'll see many times the minimum investment is $50,000. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really happen to have 50,000 laying around. And particularly just to invest in one company. Now, I know there are brokerage houses, when they have their brokerage customers, they will then pool them together to meet this, and you may not have to invest as much. But the brokerage concern also comes with fees and so forth like that. So the way I explain it to people who are not familiar with the concept of crowdfunding, first of all, my platform or my stock exchange platform provides the store, okay? Like a Walmart. I'm the equivalent of a Walmart. My stock exchange is Walmart. Think of it that way. I just put all these various things you can invest in under one roof. The purchaser can go in and they can go down aisle one. Aisle one may be produce. So aisle two may be technology. Aisle three may be, let's say I use Walmart because I didn't use a food store, because Walmart and those have what they call scrambled merchandising. So you could go in there and buy some electronics too. In Walmart and them, I think you could go in there and buy some hardware stuff and so forth. So I just create the store that investors can go and shop in, as well as persons who are looking for money can put their product on my shelves. So you could get like $100, and you know how Bahamians to say, you could get your shopping cart and you could come away with plenty things in the shopping cart, and it ain't costing you an arm and a leg. So that's what I'm doing now in terms of my, I worked with Kalina for a little while. I've gotten my FLMI, my Fellowship of Life Management. I'm a graduate of the University of Miami. I did the CIFP. What else? I'm doing the Series 7, and I'm also getting my law degree from London. So I'm trying to keep myself busy. Okay, so that's enough about me. Who's volunteering to go next? To tell us a little bit about themselves.
Okay, I'll go. My resume isn't as extensive as yours.
I bet you ain't even half my age though.
That's a
Miss Woods, just ignore me, yeah.
That's interesting. Most people actually say that, but that's interesting. That's a good thing though.
Yeah.
Well, as I told you before, my very first financial sector job was at Royal Bank, as I said, from 2002 to 2006. And from there, I moved to Clico for a year, and then Kalina for another year or so. And then I went to Julius Baer Bank and Trust, which actually recently closed down. I think that was what, last year before? Okay. Last year. So I was at Julius Baer for 10 years, working in the compliance slash client documentation services department.
Okay.
And now I am presently at Gone Bank and Trust, and I'm head of the data documentation desk.
Wow, by data documentation, just let me put it into my rudimentary understanding. Is that like where you're responsible for making sure all the client's documentation is in order and so forth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have to make sure that the systems are updated with the proper information, things like that. Once we receive it, once compliance approves everything, then they hand over the documents to us. Also, we open up the client accounts in the system, make sure everything is, I guess, yeah, in order. Certified, everything.
What do you expect to accomplish in taking the CIFP? This may just be a step in where you really want to go. I mean, what
in all honesty, I have some personal situations has pushed me into wanting to learn more about budgeting per se, in order to get my own finances in order. And in that, especially during this whole COVID season, you realize how many persons are out there who are, as you say, the financial literacy in our country is the pits, basically. And it's almost like, okay, let me help you put together a budget. Let me help you figure this out. Now, of course, there are many persons who are, especially if you're talking about close friends and family, they're intimidated by, or don't want to tell you their salaries. I mean, I get it to some degree, but if you need the help, I can need to know the information. I don't want what you have. I'm just trying to help. So for me, it's more along the lines of, as you say, getting persons in a better situation from a financial standpoint. And it's become, it piques my interest in trying to help myself.
Fantastic. And I applaud you for it, because I'm looking at it from the persons who you're trying to assist. You know, finances and so forth, on the face of it, can be a very, very frightening thing. Like you said, the first thing they gotta get over with is like, I'm here to help you. I just ain't want to know your business. That's the first thing you gotta get over. Then some of them are a little embarrassed in terms of how they're utilizing their funds. And once you get past that and you get their confidence that you're really trying to help them, then the hardest thing the hardest challenge they have is breaking bad habits and creating a new discipline and sticking to it.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing about it is, I told them, listen here, I understand completely how you feel in reference to somebody probably knowing your salary or knowing how you're spending your money, because yes, in the beginning, it is kind of embarrassing. But I mean, at least for me, I guess maybe who I used to assist me, it wasn't so bad because this person already knew my salary. I used a financial controller who paid the salaries at a company that I worked at. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, you already know what my salary is. I just need you to help me make this budget, help me to figure out how to pay off these debts that I'm in. And she did that for me. And I was very grateful. Between her and the portfolio manager at that company, the portfolio manager gave me a budget spreadsheet that she's been using for many years. And to this day, I'm still also using this budget sheet.
So here you are, you're a professional lady, and you having challenges in working out your budget. What you think about your public out there?
No, right?
And you know, it's a little bit frightening to them, because when you start tossing around terms that they think they may have a very budget, you know, cash flow, so forth, and you got to literally put that in their language. But Ms. Woods, I applaud you. I applaud you. Keep the fight going. We all need to do it. All of us who may be a little bit financial literate, we have an obligation to our country to grab the hand of our brothers and try to bring them along. I applaud you.
Thank you.
Who's next? bashful now.
Ken, you know me. I still need to introduce myself.
You ain't only me, you know, you need to tell the group. I mean, I need to know what you've been doing with yourself and where you want to go and so forth like that and what your interests are.
Okay, no problem. So my background, I'm actually an engineer. So that's how I started. I worked for Caterpillar for many years, traveled a lot with them, ended up in accounting, sales, all sorts of things, project management. Then I moved to another construction company and was their financial controller of investments. Basically, they would buy companies, revamp them, and bring them into their group. And I also noticed a need because on my first job, they had a pension plan and I saw the benefits of it. But when I went to the construction company, they were not as established. They were more of a startup. So I was able to implement something for them because in construction, they make a lot of money, but they don't always know how to manage it. So I ended up trying to set some things up for them. And I realized I wanted to learn some more about money. And I made the transition to finance. I did the Canadian Securities course and I started working for CIFP, and I've been learning ever since. So I have a background in engineering, accounting, human resources, and sales.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, and the journey ain't over. You continuously growing, eh?
Yes. So I figured I need to, tweak it every few years and learn something new or try something, keep the brain engaged. And the CIFP was on my list from when I decided I wanted to do finance. So I said, why not now?
Mom, come on. You sound like me now. You dare to run. You dare to run with a brave, then I'll go. Hey, well done. Well done. What is it that you hope to accomplish from sitting there at CIFP, other than just getting your certification?
Well, I'm very client relations focused, and anything that I can learn more about to help my clients, as well as, like Keva said, any family members, even though sometimes, yes, being too close to the situation, there is some hesitancy. At least the ones who will listen, you can assist. And I figure we all make money. We might as well learn how to do something with our money so that we don't have to be in the rat race forever. So I want to help my clients and myself as well, and any of the family members and friends around me, which I have been able to do through CFAL, which, is very rewarding. But like Ken says, there is a divide between the ones who are, I guess, used to money and the ones who are not. So it's trying to help the ones who are not as financially educated become so. And in this current climate, we see a need for it even more.
You took the words out of my mouth. You know what used to break my heart during this whole COVID pandemic and was still going on? You see how many people were lined up outside the NIB when they lost their job? That should never happen again. I don't know what the monthly stipend was. I think like $200 the government was, or weekly stipend was $200 the government was given. And unfortunately, to me, our society has grown so dependent upon the government as their backstop. And it's going to take, along with learning financial literacy, it's going to take some maturity on those people's behalf to say, the government ain't your daddy. You got to look out for yourself. But anyway, so what do you do at CFAL? Maybe I missed that.
I'm a client relationship officer and a pension administrator. So I manage a portfolio of pensions. Mm-hmm. And I also help clients with financial counseling, with mutual funds, basically talking with them and figuring out what the best product is for them.
Okay.
And I do a lot of presentations. We have a podcast now that I host some of the episodes for. So.
Oh, but you send it to the group so we could give you some feedback when you get a moment.
Sure, it airs actually on Guardian Radio on Mondays at 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
That they've been broadcasting them, and I'll send you guys an email. It's actually the CFL Talks podcast. It's a mix between economic commentary and then we do general stuff. So I host more of the general stuff about investing, pension, savings, that sort of thing.
Okay, send us an invite when you're on. I want to listen to it and give you some feedback, if you don't mind.
No, I'm open to feedback because this is a new thing. So, you know, anything
if you sign up to listen to old boring me, I mean, at least I can reciprocate and listen to you.
Can I ask you to come on as a guest? How about that?
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, the gentleman who is heading our group, because we are putting a face out there, a millennial face out there, his name is Darcy Ryan Jr. And he has actually been on Guardian talk show before in the morning. The one with Vaughn, is that it?
Oh, Juan McCartney, yeah.
Yes, and Pam was there too at that time. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's all of us to start singing this song about financial literacy that is all inclusive to every financial strata. But way to go. Thank you, Claudia. Who's next?
I think that's it. That's all you got so far.
I guess that would be me.
Oh, so sorry, Belinda. My bad.
Only because I blocked Miguel, but that's okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Miss Pinda.
How are you, Teach?
I am great. How are you?
I am fantastic. So happy to be here.
Come on, I gotta get there, but my battery is good now, low, because I've been up from 3 o'clock. You know, I keep on when people die. But
okay.
First of all, how did you get the name Rodreka?
So,
yes,
very wonderful story.
Okay.
My father is a descendant of Hatchet Bay Luthrop. Okay. So my grandfather has one of the largest pineapple farms and hog farms over there.
Okay.
At least at that time.
Okay.
So my grandfather's best friend, who happened to be Cuban, his name was Rodriguez. So when my grandmother became
hold it. Say that name again. You all hear this? Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yes. So my grandfather named my dad in honor of his best friend Rodriguez.
Okay.
Yes, and of course, in good old Bahamian tradition, you got to name the firstborn after the daddy.
Man, and he pinned you with that name. That's an interesting. Yes. It's a pretty name, though. It's a pretty name.
I am Rodriga, and I am nowhere near Mexican or Latino. I'm all Bahamian.
It sounds like you got this story down, Pat, so I am the first one to ask you about this name.
No, I get that quite a lot, believe it or not.
Okay, Ms. Pinder, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. So I ventured into banking straight out of high school. So I've been in banking and finance for the last 21 years.
Wow.
I started with Barclays Bank, trained under the traditional Barclays way.
Oh, yeah.
Stayed through the merger with First Caribbean, then was promoted to, I self-promoted and moved to Fidelity, where I was the supervisor of Western Union and the Madeira branch for a few years. And from there, I left and I am now with Sunshine Finance, which is the financial arm of Arawak Homes.
Okay.
I've been with Sunshine Finance November coming will make 11 years.
Wow.
And I serve in the capacity of their senior credit officer.
Wow. Wow. You
Yeah.
have quite a history. What do you expect to accomplish? Or how does sitting the CIFP fit into your overall path? What do you expect to come away with in this course?
My colleagues in the group have actually all touched on the same sentiments that I share. And I want to simply add to what they were saying. Of course, you know, self-promotion at work, bettering yourself. However, I am the proprietor of 2 businesses.
Okay.
Both our previous lecturer would not define it as a startup because, you know, I didn't invent the wheel. Okay. However, these are businesses that I started from scratch. And I realized that juggling that and working, I definitely needed the knowledge to avoid me from having to pay other persons to help me run my businesses.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I mean, eventually, though, depending upon how large these businesses grow,
yes,
depending upon other persons, is almost unavoidable.
Yeah, yeah. But for the most part, my first business, I relied on a lot of persons and their assistants, and I was pulled in so many different directions as far as what to invest, how much to invest, where to purchase from. And because I wasn't empowered as such. So with the knowledge that I hope to gain from this course, it will allow me to make better decisions and even select better persons to get that advice from.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. I don't think there's anybody else on. Miguel, I'm going to start this course because with this amount of people in here, I think I may be the student tonight because all this spraying I got inside there. But you still got to pay me now, Miguel. Don't worry about that.
yes, don't worry about it. You on the contract, on the signed contract.
Miguel, can I ask you to do something for me to include in their package? And that is the tables, future value, present value, future value, and annuity tables. You know what I'm talking about? This course takes us through the calculation, but there's nowhere in the world during the exam, I gotta be pragmatic with it, nowhere in the world during the exam, they can remember this calculation, the concept for them to know where it comes from. And in the exam, they're able to use their calculators as well as the tables. Am I correct?
Yes, they are. Actually, well, you know what? Let me go over the exam. Let me go over the exam format because right now, the Charter Banker and Banker University has allowed us to fully take over the exam. Okay, so your questions, ladies and gentlemen, will be coming from your lecturers. They're the one who are going to supply the questions to the exam. So if Mr. Donathan puts a bunch of calculations in his questionnaire, well, you have to deal with him. Okay? So that's how it works.
Right under the bus there,
hey. and we are going to, since it's so much material, yes, we are going to allow you to have open book. We are going to allow you to have open book. But please make that, please be in mind that there really is no advantage to open book because you are timed, okay? And
again,
time goes pretty quick.
Can I offer a piece of advice? And this is a piece of advice I offer to all classes I teach, even though there are different modules that I don't teach. Open book is a trap. Let me tell you why. This is how I did the exam, and I recommend people doing this exam. go through this exam or at least half of the exam and answer the questions that you are comfortable with answering rather than trying to get involved with flipping back and forth. Save that for last. What you don't want to do is go through that exam and run out of time and leave what I call crumbs on the table that you could have easily answered, but you never got to it. You're looking for the table that now that's an example there, but what I actually want is the time value tables that are, you can find it online.
Not this, no. This class one.
That one. I'll speak with you after class. We won't need them tonight. I mean, it's the, you know, in the books, in the finance book, they have a little thing you could pull out. It has across the top the interest rates and down the side the periods. You go back onto the internet. Go back onto the internet.
What are we typing in now? The
time value tables.
So small.
Cast it to the screen for me, please.
Oh, that one might be just a little too small. Can you see that? Is that better? I mean,
I can't see your table. I can't see. I just seen. I'm not seeing what you're casting because you still have control of it, right? I'll share your screen again with what you're looking at. That present value of a node. They got the one. There's several of them. You got future value, present value. Right. So basically, I think this needs to be in that stop there. Future value at I% for n. Okay, that one. Suppose they tell you what will 25,000 grow to in 5 years, assuming a rate of 10%. Okay. Well, we could go through the calculation that's in the book, and they could study that. But because they'll be able to use these tables, they'll go to 10%, read down to 5 for 5 years or 5 periods. And the factor is 1.61. So the only thing they're going to do is multiply whatever the amount is by that factor of 1.61, and that's your answer. Now, what this table does for you is that calculation that's in the book, they've done that. That's what's sitting behind this factor. So I'll speak with you later on about it, Miguel, but I would want us to cast this and send it to them.
All right.
Having said that, why don't you put the screen back up for the module? Okay.
Now I could make you scroll this because you're gonna be working this tonight, right?
Yes, if you could allow me to scroll it down because
I'm gonna do remote. See what pops up on your screen when I click this remote control to owner.
Click the start remote control for
I just clicked it. What came up? There you go.
Yeah, I could do it. Okay. Class, I think this module 4 is actually broken up into 4 parts. So what we're gonna do, I have 4 lecture periods, and we're gonna do section 1 today. We're gonna try to get through section 1 tonight. I love people to participate and give examples. Now, the first way I start off my class, I assume that everybody would have read the material prior to class. And so I opened up the class by asking if you have any particular area on which you read that you would like for me to go over. If you don't, then we'll just go through different slides and you can stop me as we hit an area that you would like for me to emphasize more. So I know all these smart people, like y'all read the material before coming to class, eh?
Well, I'll have to take blame on this one. They got it the same time you did.
All right, not a problem. Okay. But I mean, assuming that the fields that you're in, some of these concepts would not be unfamiliar to you guys, I'm assuming. Okay, so the learning objectives is basically to familiarize yourself with concepts, what they call the time value of money. Time value being future value, present value of lump sums, and then trying to determine present value, future value of sums that you put in on a regularly scheduled time called an annuity. Everybody's familiar with all those terms, am I correct? All right. So, financial planners are faced with numerous problems. You have to read all that. Future value. Does anybody have a calculator with them or something like that, a financial calculator? Okay. Future value. I'm not going to do Miss Claudia. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Now, Claudia, in your day-to-day working, I know you're familiar with the concept of future value, right? Tell me what you think future value is.
Basically, how much something will be worth in a given period of time in the future. I think you adjust for inflation.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. That is a concept, but I don't want to get into that. Basically, future value, there's three primary things that you need in calculating future value. As Ms. Thompson said, as the name implies, future value is you're trying to determine the future value of an amount, given that you know the number of years or periods. I don't want to use years, because periods, as you will see in financial terms, we use the term period, because periods, depending upon the nature of the question, can be months, quarterly, semi-annually. Those are your periods. So it's what will an amount grow to given the period, or what they call the compounding period, as well as the rate. Three significant things: the amount, compounding period, and the rate. Okay? Now, calculating the future value. We're gonna work through this. I hope I don't bore you, but there's only one way to learn these things. Roll up your sleeves and just read it. Suppose you were to invest $1,000 in a savings account that pays 10% interest per year. Notice they said a savings account. How much will you have in 1 year? You would have $1,100, right? Everybody with that? All right, I'll take that as a yes. This $1,100 is equal to your original principal of $1,000 plus $100 in interest that you earn. We say that the $1,100 is the future value of $1,000 invested for 1 year at 10%. And we simply mean that 1,000 today is worth 1,100 in 1 year, given that 10% is the interest rate. So it's just $1,000 times 10%. You get the interest added back onto the principal. In general, if you invest for one period at an interest rate of R, that's normally the denotation for rate, your investment grows to 1 plus R per dollar invested. In our example, R is 10%. So your investment grows to 1 plus 0.1, which is the decimal factor for 10%, equals $1.1 per dollar invested. Everybody clear with that so far? Yes?
Question, does that include compound interest as well? Is that similar?
Yes, you're right, Ms. Woods. You're jumping a little bit ahead, but
okay.
For this, there is only one period here.
Understood.
1 year. Compounding comes into effect when there will be multiple periods. So just hold your thought there for a moment, okay? We can get there. So the $1.1 per dollar invested. Now, if we wanted to find out what $1,000 was, we will take the $1,000 and multiply it by 1.1, and guess what you would get? $1,100. Remember just a moment ago, I had Miguel look at some tables, the future value tables. Well, this is where you would go on that table. You would look for 10% for 1 year, and you will find that factor of 1.1. Does everybody understand that?
So there's a table that we can have that we could just like look across and find that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask. Is everybody on a computer?
Yeah.
Yes. Go on the internet and look up future value tables. Just please let me know when you have it.
I found one.
Okay, you ought to let me know when you're there, right? When everybody has at least a table that they're looking at.
Yes, I found one. Present value and future value table.
Right, so we're going to look at the future value of a lump sum. The present value we'll get to in a little while. We're looking at future value right now. Everybody's there? Everybody has a table in front of them?
Yes.
Okay. Now remember this example, they said, in general, if you invest for one period at an interest rate of R, your investment grows to 1 plus R per dollar invested. In our example, R is 10%. So this is what I want you to do. Look across the table and find 10%. You got that?
Got it.
And look down for the period 1 and run your finger across where those two intersect. What is the factor that you get?
1.1000.
There you go. So what it said, so your investment grows to 1 plus 0.1 equals $1.1 per dollar invested. You got it? that table is doing this math for you. Now let's go into, so everybody's okay with that so far?
So the left column
That's
is
the
numbered
number of periods.
through 30.
Yeah, but you could have the number of periods could go up to thing, but I guess your example says 30.
Yes.
And this is the
Okay.
number of periods. Correct?
Okay. Correct.
So what you would do is run your finger down there. If it was 9%, you would run your finger to 9% for one period, and it'll probably be the factor will be 1.09. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. Everybody's comfortable with that concept? You understand what's going on? Okay. So they ask, is investing at 2.5% per quarter the same as investing at 10% for a year? Why do they use 2.5 per quarter? Well,
that's 10% divided. Would that be the 10% divided per quarter?
That's correct. You get 2.5. 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 equals 10. All right, that's why they're asking this question. And Ms. Thompson, we are building to your question about compounding here, so stay with us. Is investing at 2.5% per quarter the same as investing at 10% for a year? And they say the answer is no. That's strange, eh? 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 is 10%. Why isn't it 10%? All right.
Because the interest is compounded.
Okay. Now remember what this course says, time value of money. I can come back to that statement. Investing for more than one period. Going back to our $1,000 investment, what will you have after 2 years? Assuming that the interest rate doesn't change, so it stays at 10%, if you leave the entire $1,100 in the bank, you will earn 1,100 times 0.1 equals $110 in investing the second year. So you will have a total of 1,100 plus 110 equals 1,210. What is significant about that portion right there, Ms. Thompson? I'm gonna sort of like, I don't wanna say pick on you. I'm gonna ask you to help coach us through this. What is significant about that? What happened there? If you leave the entire 1,100 in the bank, hold on, that's the boss lady. Hey on it. All right, okay, because I'm teaching my CFP class now, okay? Okay, all right. Ms. Thompson, what is significant about that to you?
I'm trying to find where we were, sorry.
That's okay, we're on page 2. We're on page 2.
So it's the 1,100 plus the 110 gives you the 1,210.
Yes.
With the future value of 1,000 in 2 years at 10%. Another way of looking at it is that 1 year from now, you are effectively investing at 1,100 at 10% per year.
Right.
So a single period problem to end up with 1.1 for every dollar. The ending value of 1,210 is made up of 4 parts: 1,000 original, interest earned. So we're talking about now that you're earning interest on the interest you already earned.
That's the concept I want. You hit the nail on the head. What I wanted everybody to realize is that after the first year, the person didn't pull the $100 out. They left it in there. So now they have a new principal instead of $1,000. They now have $1,100 going to work for them in the second year. And that is what Ms. Thompson was alluding at in terms of compound interest. It's the interest on interest concept. It's the interest on interest concept, where you leave the interest in and then the interest starts earning interest. Along with the principal. This 1,210, I'm reading on now, this 1,210 is the future value, FV, of 1,000 in 2 years at 10%. Let's go back to the tables. Everybody at their tables?
Yes, sir.
So now look down the 10% column for 2 periods. What's the factor?
1.21.
Multiply it by 1,000. What do you get?
$1,210.
There you go. So you will have a total of 1,100 plus 110 equals 1,210. Okay, future value. Another way of looking at it is that 1 year from now, you are effectively investing 1,100 at 10% per year. This is a single period problem. So you end up with 1.1 for every dollar invested or 1,100 original principal. The ending value of 1,210 is made up of 4 parts, okay? Number 1, the $1,000 principal, original principal, the $100 interest earned in the first year on the original principal, number 3, the $100 interest earned in year 2 on the original principal, number 4, $10 interest earned in year 2 on the $100 interest earned in year 1. There goes the interest on interest concept. This process of leaving your money and any accumulated interest in an investment for more than 1 period, thereby reinvesting the interest, is called, Ms. Thompson? Ms. Thompson, you there? Anyway, it's called compounding.
I'm here now. Couldn't find the unmute button. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Y'all stay with me now. I can ask questions and I can call on you. Don't go sleep on me now. Compounding the interest means earning interest on interest. So we call the result compound interest. With simple interest, the interest is not reinvested. So interest is earned each period only on the original principal. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Compounding interest example. Mr. and Mrs. Smith have a 6-month-old baby. Mrs. Smith just received a $1,000 bonus. Should they buy some new furniture or invest in a security earning 10% per annum, assuming compounding of interest? Okay, let's break it down. The future value of the furniture. the furniture will immediately start losing value and in 20 years will be worthless. The future value of the bond equals 100 times 1.1020 equals 1,000 times 1.1020 equals 1,000 times 6.73 equals 6,730. You all understand the math in that?
No, it was a bit Chinese to me. Sorry.
Okay. That's why I can tell you an easy way. Go down at 10%, take the 10%, find the 10% column. Yes?
Yes.
Run your finger down until you intersect with the 20 periods. What is the factor that you find?
Is that 6.7275?
7275. Round it up to 3 figures for me, to two decimal points for me.
67.2?
No, 6.73.
Oh, okay.
You there? You clear?
Yeah.
Now, when you multiply the 1,000 by it, you get your answer equals 6,730. But what it is, those tables, even though they're easy to use, and that's what I want you to practice on for the exam, relating it to the question, the math behind it is taking that interest, taking that 1,000, multiplying it by 1.1, finding what the answer is there, taking that new principle, multiplying it by 1.1 again, and you do that for 20 times. You could imagine if you did that 20 times, how much time that would take. You understand the concept I'm after?
Yes, the table save you from just doing the same calculation over and over.
That's all. I mean, we're in that age where once you understand the concept what the table is doing, you ain't got to run that formula 20 times, okay? But the concept is interest on interest. Okay. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, I have a boss who doesn't think that I should have any time. Calculating present value. Now, this is the first concept that I go into. When you're calculating future value, that's like putting the car in drive and going forward. Okay? Calculating present value is you're already at that point, you can put the car in reverse and go backwards now. When we discuss future value, we are thinking of questions such as, what will my $1,000 investment grow to if it earns 6% return every year for the next 5 years? The answer to this question is what we call the future value of $1,000 invested at 6% for 5 years. Y'all do that real quickly for me. Now I tried to call in on Claudia. Rodrigo.
Yes,
Rodriguez.
sir.
You did
Senor.
Rodriguez?
Okay, sorry. I'm actually using a mobile device, not a computer.
Oh, it makes it very hard to read it on a mobile device. Okay.
So
I don't want
6%.
Pardon me?
Repeat the question. 6%.
$1,000 invested at 6% for 5 years. I want you to use the table. Tell us what the factor is first.
Okay, so at 6% over 5 periods, the factor would be 1.3382, or rounded up to 1.34. Correct
Okay.
so far?
Yeah, you got it. Now what would be your next step?
And we would then take the 1,000 and multiply it by 1.34, which would give us 1340.
Okay, great. All right, so that's how you use this. Now, y'all please go and find another table called the present value tables. Let me know when everybody has found the present value table.
Okay, found it.
Okay, everybody up? I got the whole group with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, great. Another type of question that comes up even more often in financial management is obviously related to future value. Suppose you need to have $10,000 in 10 years and you can earn 6% on your money. How much do you have to invest today to reach your goal? So let's break this problem down. What do we have here? Ms. Woods, this your own. You there, Ms. Woods?
I am here, but calculations aren't my best subject.
No. I don't buy that. You got a brain. We're gonna walk through this together. Have you found a present value table?
Yes, I have the table.
Okay, great. What they're asking here, they're giving you the future value. This is almost like a reverse question. I'm telling you what I have to earn, what amount I need in 10 years. 10 years, I know this bill coming at me. School fees, college fees, whatever. In 10 years' time, I need to have me $10,000. Okay? I need to have $10,000 in 10 years. All right? Now, I know if I was to invest some money today, I could earn 6% on the money. The question is, how much do I have to earn today? Or no, how much do I have to invest today that just leaving it alone and reinvesting the interest, that amount will go to 10,000 in 10 years. So, Ms. Woods, you have your table?
Yeah, yes.
Look at 6%. Run it down to 10 periods.
Right.
What is the intersecting factor saying?
That's 0.5584.
Multiply that by 10,000. What do you get?
5,584.
What is the answer on the screen? You can verify the answer is about 5,584. How do we know this?
584. Yes.
All right. So in future value, you know what the current amount is, but you don't know what the future amount is. In present value, you know what the future amount is, but you don't know what the current amount is. And you're trying to determine the current amount. The single period case. We have seen that the future value of $1 invested for 1 year at 10% is 1.1. We now ask a slightly different question. How much do we have to invest today at 10% to get $1 in 1 year? In other words, we know the future value is $1, but what is the present value? Okay, Ms. Woods, I'm going to pick on you again. How would you tackle this question if you saw this on the exam? This is a present value question. What amount do I have to invest today at 10% in order to have $1 in 1 year? How would you tackle this, Ms. Woods? Let's break it down. What is the percentage? What is the rate we're talking about, Ms. Woods? Ms. Woods, you there? Oh, you still got me on mute?
All right, can you repeat that? Because you went out just now.
Okay, I'm asking you. Did you hear the question?
No. Your screen freezed just now.
All right, y'all still see?
You were asking.
Okay, I'm asking you, what amount do we have to invest today in order to have $1 in a year's time, assuming the rate is 10%? How would you use your tables to find that? You there? Am I still freezing?
Assuming the rate is 10%, assuming the rate is 10%.
You find your 10% column. It's 1 year. You run down your finger down to find the intercept of 10% and one year or one period. What factor do you get?
It's 0.9091.
Round it up to 2 decimal factors.
Okay, so that's 0.91.
No, if it's 0.9, what was the total number?
0.9091.
Okay.
So it's 0.991, right?
Yes.
If it's 2 decimal factors.
Okay, so what they're trying to do is when you get it to that, it's almost like $1. They're saying that it's $1, or in your case, I mean, it's 90 odd cents, 90 odd cents to get it. Okay? So the amount we would have to invest today at 10% will be 90 odd cents in order for us to have $1 in a year.
Understood.
Okay, we good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, pressing on. The present value is 9.09. I'm sorry. You see it? You see it, Ms. Woods?
Yes.
Okay. And guys, I want you all to find some questions and practice it. You get good at this, doing a lot of practice questions, because you don't normally use this in your everyday life. So please, you gotta practice it when you get some time. This present value is the answer to the following question. What amount invested today will grow to $1 in 1 year if the interest rate is 10%? Present value is thus just the reverse of future value. Instead of compounding the money forward into the future, we discount it back to the present. Suppose you needed to have 1,000 in 2 years. If you can earn 8%, how much do you have to invest to make sure that you have $1,000 when you need it? Ms. Thompson, this is yours. How would you tackle this question using the tables?
Okay, let me pull up the table.
First of all, what type of question is this? Would you use the future value or the present value table for this question?
Present value.
Okay.
2 intersect with 8%, so that's 0.8573.
Miguel, stop interfering with the screen. Thank you. No, so you're looking at 8% in 2 years. So you'll find the intercept of 8% down for 2 periods. What does the factor say?
It's 0.8573.
And multiply that by 1,000 and what do you get?
857.30.
So you see, can you see this? Can you see my screen?
I can see the document like that we're reading.
Right. So you see, you drop all the way down to this 857.34. If you were to go through the steps manually, this is what the steps would be. Present value times 1.08 raised to the factor of 2, because that's the year. The rate is 8%. You write a rate as 1.08. You always add 1 to the rate in this thing. You get a factor using this as 1.164, and then we can solve for the present value as 1,000 divided by 1.164. That's 4 steps. 4 steps right there. And 4 times you can probably make an error. The table does all this for you. Therefore, 857.34 is the amount you must invest to achieve your goal.
I'm not certain if it's just me, but your document is cropped. So we can only read the left margin.
Only the left margin. You mean like what I have the arrow on now?
The only thing I can see, it says module 4, present value, and this present $1 in 1 year instead of, right where your cursor is. I can only read that left.
So present value equals 1 divided by 1.1, but you can't see the answer.
I can't see anything more than two words in each sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have it on full screen, Rodrigo? Because once I put it on full screen, I could see like the whole document on the left-hand side.
Ah, okay. Thank you, honey.
You with us?
Yes.
All right. And Rodrigo, you waited all this time just to tell me that?
My apologies. I was focusing on my table.
Yeah, I mean, you wasn't paying attention. That's okay. My wife don't listen to me either.
OMG.
Okay, so you with us now. We're going to page 5. The present value equals the future value T divided by 1 plus. I don't want to take you through that. You all don't need to know that. Let's drop to the question. Suppose we are interested in purchasing an asset that's cost 100,000. We currently have 50,000. If we can earn 10% on this 50,000, how long until we have the 100,000? Okay, now this is a bit trickier because here they're trying to ask you what is the number with periods. It'll take 50,000 earning 10% to grow to 100,000. Okay. The answer involves solving for the last variable in the basic present value equation, the number of periods. Using the rule of 72, we can estimate, notice what they said, estimate that it would take 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2 years at 10%. That is what they call the rule of 72. There's no math about it or anything. You just learn it and remember it. When they ask you for the period, you use the rule of 72. Take 72 and divide it by 10, which is normally 7.2 years. 10 is coming from the interest rate factor. Do you understand that? Don't ask me how they came up with the 72. I know the divisor is going to be whatever the interest rate is. So if I was to write that notationally, it would be 72 divided by small r, whatever the rate is. To come up with the exact answer, we can again manipulate the basic present value equation. The present value is 50,000 and the future value is 100,000. With a 10% discount rate, the basic equation takes one of the following forms. All right, you see how they go through that long thing? And they still end up down to 7.27 years. The rule of 72. And you can go ahead and check the answer. Now, oh, this one gets tricky. Now, normally, we only add one cash flow in the examples above. This one is calculate the future value and present value for multiple cash flows. Thus far, we have restricted our attention to either the, let me pause here. And before we go on, is there anything that we have covered so far that you would like to go back over?
I think this one's the trickiest one so far.
Okay, well, let's proceed. Thus far, we have restricted our attention to either the future value of a lump sum present amount or the present value of some single future cash flow, some single future cash flow. In this section, we extend these basic rules to handle any number of cash flows. We start with future value. Can you go and find what they call the future value of an annuity table? Yes, let me know when you have it.
I think I found it.
Great. Okay, future value with multiple cash flows. Suppose you deposit $1,000 today in an account paying 7%. In 1 year, you will deposit another $1,000. How much will you have in 2 years? This particular problem is relatively easy. At the end of the first year, you will have 1,070 plus the second 1,000. So you add, you get the first 1,000, you get paid the interest of $70, and you all know how to calculate that now. Then you can add on another 1,000 to that. Plus the second 1,000 you deposit for a total of 2,070. So you're beginning the second year investment with a principal of 2,070, which is the original $1,000 in year one, at the beginning of year one, the $70 you were paid on interest at the end of year one, and then at the beginning of year two, you added another $1,000 to come up with 2,070. You leave this 2,070 on deposit at 7% for another year. At the end of this second year, it is worth 2,214. Now, I want you on the present value of the future value of an annuity factor to go over to the 7% column. Yes? Go over to the 7% column, come down for 2 periods, and tell me what the factor is at that intersection.
2.0700.
Could you speak up for me?
2.0700.
Okay. Now you take the $1,000 and multiply it by that factor, and what did you come up with?
$2,070.
Not for 1 period. Go 7% for 2 periods, not 1 period. So the factor for 2 periods should be about 1.214. Can you guys hear me and verify that for me?
You said that's on the future value table for the annuity, right?
Future value of an annuity.
Right.
Future value of an annuity.
My chart is reading 2.07.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
For how many periods? 7% for how many periods?
2 periods.
Periods.
That factor, go to 3 periods. What is it reading?
3.2149.
And Oh, wait, the second period, is reading how much?
2.07.
At 7%.
Yes.
That should be reading 2.214.
We are in the correct chart. It says future value for an annuity, correct?
Yeah, future value of an annuity. And I can't leave the screen because I'm sharing with the screen. But you should be able to use that chart the same way we did it. And you should be able to come down that chart at 7%. 7% for 2 periods should give you a factor of 2.214. So that when you multiply the $1,000 by it, it's giving you the answer of 2,214. Not the 2070, not 2.070. It's telling you that the
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What did you say the factor's supposed to be?
2.214.
Oh no. Okay.
But you're telling me the factor for 7% for 2 years is 2.07?
That's what I'm seeing.
I gotta look at that, but it should be the 2.214. I gotta take a look at that, but I can't leave this screen right now. The concept is the same thing though. It's just that you now, guys, guess what? You're right, you know why? I'm multiplying 1,000 by the 2 point. It should be. The factor you're getting 7%. Maybe I'm getting my wires crossed. 7% for 2 periods. What is the factor again? Please bear with me.
2.07.
I should still be that because the 1,000. I was going to say maybe I should have been 2,000 times our factor, but that'll take you up to 4,000. That was present value of annuity factor tables. The future value, we're in the future value, right?
Yes.
Future value of an annuity. I gotta look at that. That should be giving you a factor of 2.214, but I'll come back to that. And the present value of multiple cash flows, you'll be using the table. Let's read by present value. Let me see if very often we need to determine the present value of a series of future cash flows. As with the future values, there are 2 ways we can do it. We can either discount back 1 period at a time, or we can just calculate the present value individually and add them up. Suppose that you needed 1,000 in 1 year and 2,000 more in 2 years. If you can earn 7% on your money, how much do you have to put up to date to exactly cover the amounts in the future? In other words, what is the present value of the two cash flows at 7%? The present value of 2,000 in 2 years at 7% is 2,000 divided by the present value factor of 1.072. The present value of 1,000 in 1 year is 1,000 divided by the present value factor of 1.7. Therefore, the total present value is 1,746 plus the 934 is 2.68. Let's check to see if this is indeed the correct answer. And then they take you through the multiple factor. But this example illustrates that the present value of a series of future cash flows is simply the amount that you will need today to exactly duplicate those future cash flows for a given discount period. An alternative way of calculating present values for multiple cash flows is to discount back to the present value one period at a time. For example, suppose we had an investment that was going to pay 1,000 at the end of every year for the next 5 years. To find the present value, we could discount each 1,000 at the end of every year for the next 5 years. To find the present value, we could discount each 1,000 back to the present separately and then add them up. The figure below illustrates this approach for a 10% discount rate. Okay. Now they are using the discount factor. So this is all right, so they're doing them separately here. Okay, guess what? Time out. I want to stop. I want you guys just to go through the future values and the present values until we meet again. I need to check some of these things because we're at 8:01 now. Let me stop here before we start going into annuities, the future value and the present value of annuities. Or the multiple cash flows, because I want to check something in this thing. Does everybody understand what we covered in terms of future value and present value of single payments and lump sum? Ms. Pinder?
Yes, sir. I gather the concept. Oh. I do have a question though.
Go ahead.
If possibly during the exam, it does not specify, how do we determine which chart we're using, present versus future? In the example that you just pulled up, you were trying to identify the values over 5-year period, but the chart indicated it was using the present value.
Yeah, no, that's the present value of an annuity. I want us, don't go there yet. I just want us to focus on that multiple cash flows. We can do that next class, okay? I want to do that next class because I want to lay something out different from this. I just want to know about the single cash flows. Do you understand that all the work we did before this multiple cash flows?
Yes.
So you're comfortable with that, Ms. Pinder?
I'm okay with it. I'm going to go and practice some more, but I understand.
And you can find practice questions on the internet too. All you got to do, type in practice future value questions, practice present value questions, and they'll give you questions on it that you could test yourself.
Okay, great.
All right, Ms. Thompson?
Yes,
You're comfortable with the work we covered up until and not including multiple cash flow?
yes, but I am gonna read like Rodrigo and see if I could do some practice questions.
Okay, fantastic.
Same here.
Okay, so everybody can do that. Okay, just get comfortable with the concept. It's not a difficult concept once you get the hang of it. And believe it or not, like I tell everybody, these are things you do in every day of your life. You don't know you're consciously doing it, but you do it nonetheless. So any other questions for me before we log off? Good?
Would
Go ahead.
in searching for these various tables, I noted that a billion popped up. Would we find value in you providing us the standard one that you are referring to?
I am going to do that. I remember at the beginning of the class, I am going to send you guys some tables before the next class, so that we could all be using one table.
Wonderful.
Okay? And I am going to try and weave it into, recast these slides to weave it into the slides. Okay?
I just added the one I used into the chat. I don't know if you guys could see it.
I see you shared one, yeah. I see you sharing something, but I'm still on Miguel's screen, so I don't really have control. Okay, so with that, I'll bid you good evening.
All right, good evening.
Okay, good night.
Okay, enjoy the remainder of your evening.
You too.
Okay, good.